Did You Have To is a proud member of the But Why Though podcast community.
Welcome back to Did You Have To, the podcast where two bad bitches talk about anime. And here are your hosts, Kate and Nisha. Yeah! Nisha's quirk, stress ball. By internalizing her stress about the world being in chaos and crime, she converts that stress into a superpower, becoming a badass. Kate's quirk, waifu warrior. By just watching her favorite shows, she can manifest real or fictional characters into the real thing. They come to life and fight by her side. Not every character does it, though. She has to find the individual really hot. Yeah!
Hey everyone, welcome back to Did You Have To? I'm Kate.
And I'm Nisha.
And today we're talking about anime romances. One of my favorite things.
Yes. We enjoy them. Well, I just love them so much. They give me unrealistic goals for real romance.
Oh yeah. And unrealistic goals for man height. Because yes. all of those romance protagonists are like 8 feet tall.
Yes. I mean, that's what men should be, right? 8 feet tall, can hold 3 swords, 1 sword in their mouth, and can fight very, very
Ma'am,
well.
You're just talking about Zoro.
Has green hair. Has a sexy smirk.
If you are listening and look like Zoro, please apply.
I mean, yes. Hit me up. My DMs are open.
But only if you look like Zoro and can wield 3 swords with 1 in your mouth.
I'll make an exception if you just look like Zoro.
Oh, girl, okay.
The bar is in hell.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yes, but
your dating bar is in hell. In fact.
At this point, it feels like it. But this isn't a show about where we talk about my dating.
So we talk about fictional characters dating and probably thirst over them.
Oh yeah, we're going to in this episode most likely,
but first, do we want to do Today in Weeb?
Yeah, let's do it. You want to go first?
Yeah, I have been not reading too much manga outside of what I have to review. I just finished up Food Wars, which just ended, and it was kind of anticlimactic, and I'm kind of frustrated with it. But the thing I'm not frustrated about is, did I talk about Recovery of an MMO Junkie last time?
Yeah, you did.
I did. Okay, so can't talk about that one. But what I can talk about is I was talking about what I've been reading, actually, because I haven't really been watching too much anime outside of Recovery, because I finished that. But I have picked up a lot of josei smut as I've been reading. But josei smut is very interesting in that it can, like yaoi, it can be this is just about sex, or it can be, here's some sex, but also a really good story. And The Artist and the Beast, I've reread, because I read it a while back, and I reread it again, and it's probably, like, my favorite josei/smut title. It's really cool. It deals with a manga artist who co-signs a debt for an old friend. And then that guy bails, but because she co-signed it, a Yakuza boss ends up coming over to collect the debt from her. And then, of course, they just end up doing it, and the love happens, because initially he's like, and mind you, smut is always problematic. I'm putting away that part of me here. But yes. He essentially says, so long as we can have sex whenever, then I'll put off your debt. And I was like, this is interesting. What's gonna happen? And he's tall and broad, so like I gotta read. And so essentially, like, that happens, and of course, like, they end up developing feelings for each other, and they end up having a relationship. But what I like about this one is, in a lot of the romances, the woman is the one who's usually saying, I love you first, or going through a lot of the miscommunication out of the love for them. But in this one, she doesn't say I love you until the very, very last chapter. And essentially, you see how much he loves her and how much he's changing everything for her, and she's not changing herself for him. He's like changing himself to be better for her, which is super interesting and really good. And it just kind of ends with them getting together. And it's really good. It's really interesting. The sex scenes are really good too. But like the story is actually probably my favorite one that I've read since I've been on this kick. So I recommend The Artist and the Beast to anybody who's looking for a more adult time when reading manga.
Good. I will add that one to the list because I don't think I've read that one, but I'm josei trash. So this sounds exactly right up my alley where I'm just like, yes.
And he's tall, broad, tan. He's great.
Yep.
I love
Sign me up, because what else do I have to do during a pandemic?
Read josei trash. That's what you have to do.
Read josei trash and doujinshi? Yes.
Yep.
Be productive? No.
God, if people knew the amount of doujin and everything else that I've read, I swear.
Listen, that will be a bonus episode one day. Like, maybe what we should do is we should start, like, recording exclusive bonus episodes like that.
Yeah.
And put that on the Patreon.
Oh my god. That'd be so good.
Oh yes, but no, I like the premise. I definitely want to check it out because I do like that she doesn't say "I love you" towards the end, because I feel like that's just one thing with like not anime, but like mangas and like especially romance ones where I'm just like, I want to see progression and not confessions first.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So no, that sounds good.
And I'm also just a sucker for the guy who's helplessly in love with the girl and doesn't realize it until his friends are like, yo, dude, you've literally changed everything you are as a person. What's happening?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. No, I love that because it's just like, yes, growth. Yes, change for love, especially when it's when you're doing something toxic or something. So, and you want to be a better person, like that's just goals. It's beautiful. So then my turn. So for me, for today in Weeb, I have been reading, and I actually just finished the review for this one, so it might be out by the time this episode comes out. Komi Can't Communicate. It is a manga, and it's through you can get it through Viz Media, but essentially it is about this girl named Shoko Komi, and she has a communication disorder. But her goal is to make 100 friends, and it's through certain circumstances that one of her classmates, Tadano, finds out about her disorder. Because to everyone else, she just seems like this cool beauty that is just too cool for everyone else, and she's not seen with a lot of people, so people think she's exclusive and cool and elegant and demure and like all these things, when actually she just wants to be friends with people and make more friends. Aww. But I don't want to like prescribe her as like social anxiety, but the girl literally shakes and looks like a kitten when she's nervous and anxious when talking to people, and she's just like, she can't say what she wants to say. So sometimes she just writes it down. Or and she's 16, so she's gone through a majority of her life just not saying anything. And it's not like at school, it's also at home. Like her family can communicate with her. She can communicate with her family. But it's like she wants to make friends and she wants to get closer to people. So while she's like super popular, everyone thinks she's so popular and all this stuff, in fact, she's just like, I want to make genuine friendships and connections. But she's frustrated and held back by her communication disorder. So
that's really cool.
Right? It's so cool. So then Tadano is the first one who recognizes she doesn't do well in social settings, but she wants to make friends, and she wants to like make more friends and be genuine friends, because she's popular. So it would be nothing if she said like, will you be my friend, and then everyone be her friend. But she doesn't care about popularity. She wants to genuinely connect with other people. So Tadano and he agrees to help her make more friends, and like the premise is basically just about them and like different social situations. So there's school, there's like holidays. The most recent volume I just reviewed was volume 7, and it's a big like holiday one where it's around Christmas, as they always do. So it's on the Christmas episode, and it's just cute, and it's holiday stuff. And it's like cute to see them outside of school and interacting with one another. It is also a romance and a drama. I would say right now it's light on the drama, but it builds up on drama. But it's just so cute, and like, I don't know, it's funny because the girl don't talk. Like, she rarely talks, so it's like it's shocking when she does talk. But I just like, it's so cute, and it's nice to see characters with growth, and she's coming a long way from like the first volume to now. And I love her and Tadano. Like, they like each other, but they haven't said they like each other. So it's one of those slow burns I can deal with, because he really cares about her making friends with other people. He could have totally capitalized and pushed to get closer to her by himself and gotten in a relationship with her, when he just like, nope, we're friends. We're just friends, and I'm helping her, and we're friends. It's just so cute.
That's adorable.
Mm-hmm. I needed something pure.
I like that.
Yeah. So, yeah, just a nice, lighthearted manga for me. I figured I should, like, take a step back from all the killing and children and demons since our last episode.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's completely fair.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just over here reading smut, so.
I mean, I'm doing that too. Look, I got range.
But like, I'm only reading smut, so there's a big difference there. Well, I guess I'm not. Anything I'm reading that I'm not reviewing is smut, but everything else I'm reading is like not. And I've kind of like, I don't know what's happened. I think it's because you jump in and grab all the shonen, but like I've been like, I have pretty much been reviewing all of the shoujo beat titles that they're putting out. So
this makes sense. This is true. I just feel like I live in my shonen hole. As soon as I get the opportunity, I'm just like, yes, I will take that one and that one and that one. But I just love shonen so much. And also I love, now we're going to go down a manga rabbit hole, but I just feel like shonen's come a long way for me.
It has!
Right? Shonen has range. It's not just fighting anymore. Like, a lot of people think shonen manga is just about a young boy between the ages of 12 and 16 goes on an adventure and gets magical powers and has to fight an evil villain and save the world. But, yes, that is shonen. But it also has more range now.
It does. It so really, really does.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, when we start going into range, I think actually we can start with romances as shonen.
Yeah.
Because it's weird. Because a lot of the times when there's a romance and the romance is center, a lot of people specifically assume that it's a shoujo.
Yes.
But Toradora is shonen.
Right,
I found that out.
That is true.
So, like, it's one of those things where I think it's just, like, the way the romance is shown.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously who the target audience is, because I think a lot of the times when we start looking at anime or manga, and we'll start with, I think we should start with anime specifically, because I do think that there are some changes that happen in romances when they get put over to anime, but anything that is like romance comedy or like ecchi, and if you don't know what ecchi is like a step below hentai, or like smut. Like ecchi is like, there's a whole bunch of like sexuality, and it's usually extreme, like Food Wars is ecchi, because there's a whole bunch of like sexually suggestive things, near nudity. And so like a lot of those types of romances that come out, like Aramanga, or not Aramanga, what's it called? It's that zombie one where the boy ends up with a girl who he makes a zombie.
Sankria?
But like,
Sankria?
Yeah, Sankria. Yeah, Sankria. Those are typically like shonen romances, or like they're romances that are geared more towards young men. or like teenage guys to like a little bit like to like early 20s guys. But I think in there you also find some really good representations of different romances that happen in like shonen anime proper that isn't specifically a romance story too. Like when you think of something specifically like Bleach, but then it's not like, it's hard for me because whenever like my stress when I watch romances that aren't my stress when I watch something that isn't specifically romance centric is I'm just constantly saying now kiss.
Right.
Like just kiss. Just kiss, please. And I feel like that's like if shonen isn't like explicitly ecchi or like explicitly doing the romantic comedy stuff, you're gonna get those like will they won't they things, and it bugs me, but I keep coming back to them.
Listen, I stayed loyal to Bones for 5 goddamn seasons because of the will they won't they shit, and it is a good trope, but god dang it, I hate when I get sucked in.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But like to your point, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
To your point, like when it comes to shonen, I just feel like, dang it, like because we know like the primary genre in like most shonen, unless it's like a shonen with like a shonen romance, is not romance. Yeah. So I totally feel you when it's like you see 2 characters and you can't help but say, "Now kiss. I see you. Y'all belong together. Kiss now." But like they will probably we never see like Vegeta and Bulma kiss. She kisses him on the cheek, like stuff like that. But like what? There's a lot of fan fiction. So,
God, shonen is the perfect ground for fan fiction, damn it.
It is. It is just the perfect breeding ground.
Because, like, when I think back to it, I think of, like, Sosuke and Kaname in Full Metal Panic. Like, I don't know if you ever watched Full Metal Panic. But I was like, you two are perfect. Kiss, damn it. I just want you to kiss.
Yep.
And it's frustrating. Because, like, I feel like there are just genuinely good romances that happen. Like, I think probably my favorite shonen romance in an anime where, like, romance wasn't necessarily the center is Kaoru and Kenshin in Rurouni Kenshin. Like, that is a solid romance. You know that they love each other, but at the same time, like, it's still an action-centric anime and that kind of stuff. And I think that, like, when I think about romance and shonen, I think that Kaoru and Kenshin are pretty much, like, the pinnacle for me because it's clear that they are in some sort of relationship. And then, of course, you just have the weird shit that happens in the OVAs after where, like, Kenshin ends up killing her, and I don't
acknowledge those, man. We don't speak of those.
Is real bad. Kenshin ended as a show, nothing else. We will not acknowledge it. But I think the way shonen typically handles romance, and it's not saying that shoujo isn't dynamic, but I think that because romance isn't the center a lot of the times, it allows that romance to develop in a more dynamic way, where they get to see and appreciate different sides of each other or see it tested in different ways than you see it done in shoujo.
And, I guess I shouldn't note, like, the manga I was referring to in Today in Weeb, that one is shonen. Like, so that's a shonen one. And I kind of like, it's maybe like more recently, in maybe the last 2 years, I realized that there are shonen romances, but there's a difference between shonen romances and then the romance in shonen, where not every shonen is going to acknowledge romance in it. Like, that's just not the priority. It's like all of us yelling, Ichigo and Rukia aren't belong together. That's a relationship. And it's like, I remember the day when somebody met Young Bosch and had him record Rukia, I Love You, and I accept that as canon.
Oh my god! That's canon.
That is canon, and that's all we need. But we also know that doesn't happen in the anime. But it's one of those things that I like, that there's just like so much potential, because like to your point, like your with the one you referred to with like Full Metal Panic, I think of Fairy Tail. Like, the romance again is not the main genre of that manga, or of the anime. But
Yeah.
it's just the creator knows what he's doing. Like, he literally pairs everyone up with couples, and he acknowledges them as couples. But
Yeah.
it is not. You will not really see a lot of them going on dates. Like, it'll come up and it'll be like, "Oh, do I have feelings for this person?" But it's not a main part of the series.
Man. Now I'm thinking about like all of like what could have been the good like the good shonen couples that could have been.
Oh, yeah.
I guess is what I'm thinking about.
I mean, I have there's a list in my brain. I know there is.
Oh yeah.
Like, there's just so many, like, with the potential of it. And I'm just like, you could be a couple. You should be a couple. Like, Nami and Zoro, I kind of ship them together. I'm only 250 episodes in, but that's my ship. I don't care if I'm wrong. No one tell me otherwise.
No, I don't know, because like I guess it's also weird for me too, because I don't fall. So like when I watch shonen and I'm in my now kiss phase, I'm totally okay with that, and I don't get frustrated because I'm like, okay, I know that this isn't the focus.
Right.
But then we switch gears to shojo anime, and I'm just like, why the fuck aren't you kissing? Just kiss. Yes. What the hell is happening? And then I have to wait 12, 24 episodes for them to finally kiss, and then the show ends. And I'm just like, why? That is probably, so like when we do switch to shoujo, and this isn't only defining shoujo as romance series, because shoujo is a lot more than romance series. That said, shoujo just like teases so much, and maybe it's because I'm reading it now as an adult that I'm just kind of like, why aren't you kissing? Just kiss already. But it handles romance in a very much less of a will they won't they, but more of like they will inevitably, but you're gonna have to watch literally every piece of this develop.
Pretty much.
And I think of a series like Takane and Hana, which is, I believe it's from Shoujo Beat, and essentially this girl, Hana, stood in for her older sister in a like pre-marriage thing, and the guy, who is like 10 years older than her, she's in high school, again, all romances and almost all romances in manga and stuff are problematic for some reason. You can listen to our episode where we talked about weird age gaps, if you want more of our feelings on that. But they essentially start like dating, and for that one I can at least understand why they, because like they kiss early on, but it was more of like a joke kiss,
right? And
they don't do it consistently, and they haven't. I am on like, I think I'm on volume 12 or 13. I think I'm on volume 12 right now, and it's still just kind of like, they're here, and I'm just like, come on, man. But then the age gap, so I kind of get it. But at the same time, it's more of like this slow build up to a kiss, or like a scene where you see their silhouettes making love or whatever.
Right.
Like that's like that has to be the ending, because once that happens, you'll lose interest maybe. I don't know. But it happens so much, and when I think of other shoujo series too, I think of something like LDK, and LDK is a really good shoujo where essentially like, these two people just end up living together. They're both in high school, but like, and they have like moments where it gets kind of there's sexual tension. Like he unsnaps her bra all the time, which is actually hilarious. But they never do anything. And the plot device that makes it so that these two people living alone who could do whatever they want is that her dad comes in and like put plasters up on the wall, like no sexual activity till graduation. And it's like I think it's gone through 15 volumes. I've read them all. I'm up to date. They still haven't done anything. And I'm just like, come on now. And they're about to graduate, so I'm like, okay, they're gonna graduate and the series is gonna end, and in that final volume I'm finally gonna get to see them get their happy ending.
Right.
But whatever. So yeah, I love shojo romances, but at the same time, like, whereas with shonen, I'm kind of like, oh, that's fine. They don't have to kiss, but I'm still gonna go now kiss. And it's more of like me trying to ship everybody with everybody because they're all ridiculously good looking.
Right.
In shoujo, I'm like, this is my one ship because it's what we're focused on. I need y'all to get together already. Come on, this is going too slow. And I start to get frustrated. And I don't know if I was like that when I was younger or not. I want to think I was, because I remember wanting Darian and Serena to kiss a hell of a lot more than they do. But I don't know. That may just be a me thing. I don't know. It's
but at least you finally got this. But at least we got to see them kiss in the series, and it wasn't like towards the end of it. But no, I totally was like that. I'm like, y'all are meant for each other. Y'all are destined to be together, not kiss. Like, kiss already, damn it. So.
And I wonder too, because like I haven't read all the Sailor Moon manga. It's actually a big blind spot for me. But I was the Sailor Moon anime first, so I wonder how different it is in the manga, because when you watch Sailor Moon Crystal, like, she stays at his house. It's very clear that these two are in a physical relationship. They don't show anything, but like, it's still very clear. Whereas I feel like a lot of other shoujos, it's just kind of like, no, they have no sexual interest in each other whatsoever. You'll get a kiss later on.
Right. I think that's like a good segue into, not to segue out of it too fast, but like josei, where it's like, josei goes there. But like with shoujo, I totally feel that, where I'm just like, so, another manga I just reviewed for the website, Yona of the Dawn. And I really like that one because it's the reversed harem, where like everybody wants to be with the woman. But, like, she's kind of, like, oblivious to love. Well, like, she got other shit going on. She's a princess who's been exiled and now has to fight back for her throne. But, like, her bodyguard has been in love with her this whole time since they were children. And, again, he's tall and broad and handsome and a great fighter. So, yeah, totally in for that one. But their thing is, the series isn't over. It's still ongoing, but they've kissed. But now my frustration with this is like, they'll do this thing where, what did that kiss mean? What does that mean for us?
Oh, yeah.
And it's that, don't you do this shit to me. Y'all are old enough to know what a kiss means. And it's just like, it's that, I don't know how to put it, but like, you know, God bless the person who like create that manga, because they go there with, kind of like, I don't know, they hint at sex. Like, they don't shy away from it. It's not a josei, it's definitely a shoujo, but it's more like this. It's very obvious that Yona is a young, like 16, I think, or 17 by this point.
Yeah.
And he's 18. So, like, she's examining these feelings that she has for him. Yeah. And it's like one of the kisses happened because, like, they were going their separate ways on a journey. Well, it's like, so now the guy, the bodyguard, his name is Hawk, and he's just like, what did that kiss mean? Did that really happen? What does that kiss mean for us? And I'm just like, you told her you loved her, right?
Like, you should know what this meant.
Right. And I think it's just like, because he's just so thrown off by it. And I think it's just like, it's so cute because like, there's a goddamn war going on and they're trying to figure out their feelings, but they got shit to do. But it's that trope of like, oh shit, did that kiss mean something or did it not mean? I don't know how to describe it. It's just like the oblivious like love. Yeah. And not, they're still trying to process through their feelings. I don't know. It's like something that's cute, but after it keeps going on for a while in shoujo, I get irritated because I'm just like, if y'all just don't acknowledge your feelings for one another and kiss some more, I'm going to lose it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and I think that's, so one of the things that I'm also really liking, I mean, and obviously our site works with Viz, so a lot of the stuff that I'm reading currently in the shoujo world is from Shoujo Beat, which is published by Viz. And there are two series that I really like. The first one is Not Your Idol. And that one you can tell that there's going to be some romance because there's a little bit of given in the first volume. There's only one volume out. There's a little bit of of play between the main character, who is a girl who's trying to not be a girl, not because she's trans, but because she is just trying to get rid of all of her femininity because she was assaulted. She used to be a pop idol.
Gotcha.
And so now she's changed her name. She wears boy clothes consistently. And then the guy, who at the end of the first volume, you find out may be the guy who assaulted her because they never caught him and you don't know. And so, like, that's doing something really interesting where it's providing, like, a larger comment. And I think this goes back to where it's, like, shoujo isn't always about romance all the time.
Right.
It's, like, this one is about her and her growing and, like, that type of theme. But at the same time, there is this little inkling of a romantic subplot kind of happening. And then there's another one that I really like that is explicitly a romance shoujo, and that's Love Me, Love Me Not. And that one... It's in volume 2. I believe volume 3 is coming out in July, but that one I'm not, and again, I could just not be frustrated because I don't think I was frustrated with Takane and Hana in like the first 4 volumes, and then I was like, come on now, we're already on volume 10. What's happening?
Right.
But like this one at least, shoujo has depth when it deals with romance, and I think when you get a romance anime or a romance anime or manga that's trying to investigate what relationships means, I think that's where I think shoujo like kind of thrives as a series or as a genre or as an age group focus, I guess, if that makes sense. Because in Love Me, Love Me Not, you have this one girl who is completely obsessed with the idea of love at first sight and a Prince Charming and she's a romantic. And then you have her friend who is the complete opposite. She's cynical. She's like, I don't believe in love at first sight. If I'm going to fall in love, I'm going to make this happen for me. And then you end up seeing the main character who is the romantic. She ends up falling in love with the other girl's brother, stepbrother. And she confesses to him in volume 2, but she confesses to him to get it out of the way because she's actually in love with his sister. But it's not weird because they're not married or because they're not related by blood. But what that one does is it kind of like investigates ideas of love and the like how love can be romantic and platonic and how those relationships kind of form around it. And so for that, it's actually one of my favorite romance mangas out there. And it leaves me questioning and wanting to go back and read a lot of the manga parts of reading the manga for the romance animes that I've seen from shoujo, because I wonder if in translation to anime, you lose a lot of the I guess like the investigation part of it,
right?
Or even some more of the explicitly romantic pieces, because I have a lot more fun reading shoujo romance when it is a manga versus watching it as an anime. Like I like watching it as an anime, but as an anime it feels kind of empty sometimes, and I wind up in that place of now kiss more and more
right
than I do when I read.
Yeah, I would say, dang, that's an interesting point to make. Because I'm trying to think of, like, how I feel. Because I don't know if it's because, like, you actually have to read, like, to get the progression. Like, I mean, yes, you could skip to the end to see what happens, or you could go read the Wikipedia, but I can fast forward the episodes and see if there's, like, are we there yet? Are we there yet?
Yeah!
But I think I do prefer the manga when it comes to that sometimes, because it's like, you know what? I just want you to get this confession out, and we can keep going with the last 3 episodes.
Yep.
But I mean, like, I guess it just depends on, like, the series, like which series it is, because I just feel like there are some where I'm just, like, so ready. I'm like, oh, great, y'all confessed, and now y'all know. Great, now this can finally move forward, and this doesn't have to be the main plot of the damn story. But... oh,
when it takes a whole season to even just confess. Like, not even kiss.
Right.
Confess.
Confessions.
It's frustrating.
That is one... let's just get into it. Confessions. in like romance manga.
Trope number 2, confessions.
Confessions. We need like a swipe card or something. I don't know how to feel about them because there's like so many ways the trope is handled. I just feel like no one does this shit in the real world, right? Like, y'all just say if you like somebody and you keep it going. But then, like, this is romance, so they lean into it. And it gets so frustrating, especially when it takes an entire season. Like, or the entire series. Because it can take the entire series when you're trying to confess to a character that you like. And I'm just like, don't have to do all this. Like, it could go, like, but I get it. Like, there's that slow burn, and, like, sometimes it's good. Like, I mean, Toradora. It's about her confessing to the guy she likes and then getting her neighbor to help her to, like, confess her feelings to him. Yeah. For a good chunk of the season. But, like, while they're doing that, she comes to the realization of, like, oh, I actually don't like him. Yeah, after she confesses to him, and then she realizes she has feelings for the guy that was helping her all along. And then, like, but I think that's where it does it good. Like, it does a good thing of, like, shifting it, because the story goes on after the confession. I hate the ones where the story ends, like, with the confession.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. Because I think... So it's also hard, too, because I feel like this may just be something that is that's not common for us, but is common everywhere else, because confessions are also a huge thing in K-dramas.
Right. They are a huge thing.
And so I wonder if it's just a concept in Asian cultures that this is happening, because it's happening, because I see it happen in Korean media and I see it happen in Japanese media, and it's almost always happening. And I don't know if it's just something I don't understand, and that's why it bugs me, because like you said, I'm like, dude, just tell them you like them. And then the other part of me also wonders if it's just because these pieces of media are specifically supposed to be romance, and there's something romantic about making a confession, or like confessions of love. And I don't know, I guess it kind of gets frustrating for me when you see like 5 other characters confess and the main 2 that you need to still haven't, because that happens a lot too.
I would agree. I think that's probably it for me. Like, you kind of hit it on the head, is that everybody else is coupling up. Everybody else is paired up. But y'all, too, still haven't said how you feel for each other. But to your point about, like, it being, like, maybe being based in culture, because, like, now we think about it, like, I just feel like this was not a thing when I was in high school, but
hell no, it was not.
But promposals. Like, confessions were not a thing for me in high school, but, like, it's, like, in high school in our day, and not to sound too fucking old, but, like, you basically you either told somebody you liked them yourself, or you told your friend to tell them that you like them.
Yep. We did the tell your friend to tell them that you like them, or you would pass a note. My first boyfriend was because I passed a note in middle school. Yep. And, like, you would toss that shit on their desk and run out and hope for the best.
I know. Oof. No, I don't miss that shit.
Which I guess is kind of a little bit like a confession.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't gotta be there to get rejected. You can just pretend you never read the note.
True, which I guess I think kind of like connected to like there is like the putting the letters of confession into a locker, and like that's a thing, and like with romance and anime. But it's like... You
know what? I just realized that anime messed me up. Because, like, I did a whole bunch of the, like, here's my secret love letter, like, shit in high school. Okay. And I think it was because of anime. I was just like, I gotta have this really cool romantic thing. No, honey.
Baby Kate.
It's never the right thing. It's never the right thing.
I ain't trust none of them boys in my school to give them a letter, if I'm being honest. I know their asses would have put it on, what was it, MySpace at the time? So I didn't trust none of them.
I put it in the wrong locker one time. That was
fun. I'm sorry.
It was bad.
I'm going to ask you about how that turned out afterwards. I just remember like getting a confession during class, like getting a note. Someone passed me a note and they said, "Will you be my girlfriend?" And I just like looked at them and I shook my head no. I didn't even reply to the note.
Oh my god. Oh.
But sorry. Oh yeah, the point before we went down the high school memory lane. But proposals. Like I feel like that's. I don't know if that's just something that's like in the last few years, but like recent. Like, and is it only significant to like here, like in the western?
That shit's weird. I don't get it.
But it is weird.
It has to be because it's weird.
It's so weird. I'm like, no offense, but I mean, maybe it's because like I'm not a high schooler anymore. But like, I also just feel like prom was never that serious. It was really never that serious.
No, it wasn't.
And it's just like now you see like kids like get all like I think it's cute when like they do the little stuff, but I'm like a boy proposing to a girl to prom with like Louis Vuitton shoes and like 1,000 roses to prom. You not even gonna marry this girl. You children are in high school. Like,
yeah,
calm down.
It's weird to me. I don't like it.
I don't like it.
I don't understand it. This is a wasteful waste of money.
It is not. It is not productive. I mean, again, we're sounding like those old women, but right now I don't care. It's like, are you going to be with this person forever? You think so, but you will not. And this is a waste of money.
Yeah.
And I know, like, some of it is just maybe, like, for the gram. Like, some of them are just doing it for Instagram. But it's just, like, it's, like, I'm relating it to, like, the big, like, show of affection that happens in anime. But it's just, like,
yeah.
Even, like, here, I think that is weird when you're just, like, young and in high school. But, again, it's anime.
Yeah. I don't know.
But let's get out of the high school romances and whatnot, and like let's just like segue. Let's go into josei.
Yeah, I will say before we do that, the one things I do love from high school romances are the cultural festival episode and the summer festival episodes, or the Christmas episodes, because sometimes the summer festival is swapped out for a Christmas episode where they have a Christmas festival. Those are always good episodes. It's usually when shit goes down. Yeah.
Actually, yes. I do enjoy those are the ones I do enjoy. I like the tropes. I like those episodes. The school festival. Summer break, the vacation, everyone goes to the beach house. Those like stuff like that. But yeah. I think when we get into josei, it's just like one of these things with like anime romances. Like I like to see the relationship, and I think that's where I realized like I'm just not a fan of all high school romance anime. Like I've kind of that's where I'm like I like it and I enjoy it, but then like this is when I move into josei because like I want to see how y'all relationship progresses.
Yeah. No, I think you're right, and I think that's why obviously josei is written for women our age and older, but the romances in josei that I love is you see all of the big complications that can happen in romances.
Right.
Cheating is a thing, like suspected cheating, or like there it's just adult. It's just, which I mean that's the demographic. But I think that there's just so much more done with romances in josei because the age bracket allows you to really explore like these really complicated ideas. Specifically, if you look like, oh, does he love me? Does he love the idea of me? That's one of the things that happens a lot. And then I am a sucker for workplace romances myself. Yes. And so specifically in josei romances, a lot of the time you'll have an employee with a boss. And I really, really like those. But then you also just end up like with a really cool exploration of like what it means to have a romance in different settings and what that looks like. Because like as much as I do think like I said when I talked about the Artist and the Beast, like there are definitely abusive power dynamics in a lot of these josei romances. Yeah, but that's a trope that I'm fine with because of how it ends up, because you do get to see how romance lives in different situations.
Agreed. I mean, and I say this because josei trash here talking, but it's I don't know. I don't mind it as much because I know what to expect with josei. So I know very well that we're gonna see there's that weird trope of usually it's like workplace. I love workplace romances, but again, you have to be aware going into it that like if it's a boss and like subordinate dynamic, this is a josei.
Yeah.
And this is like they operate on different rules here. So a lot of the shit that you're gonna see happen is it's just not gonna be it's not gonna hold up like in the real world. You have to suspend your belief. Like I won't put anyone down for like not being comfortable with reading it, but as long as it's like something that like isn't like so like rape or like forceful, like graphic, like stuff like that, I don't have a problem with. I know there is some of josei like that out there, and that makes me uncomfortable. But I just feel like I don't want people to write it off because I'm like, there's gonna be like workplace romances like with the boss and the secretary or the that's a thing.
Because like that's the thing. Yeah, because that's the thing. So like I saw somebody, somebody who had never really read manga, and it's weird, right? Because like when we see this, like, oh, this is a problematic thing in real life, but in like media, I'm like, I'm a sucker for romances that are like that. I don't know why. Like, my favorite josei right now is a Yakuza boss who's having sex with someone because she owes him money. Like, I don't know why I like that, but I do. It's so weird.
Maybe. It's sorry, not to cut you off. I'm like, I feel like there's a thing about preferences, and like, I'm not gonna get into like, I don't know how to put this. It's not exactly kinks, and that's another episode we can have one day. But it's just like I love those dynamics with like and like with josei, and it's just like and it's kind of like a fantasy thing.
It's playing with power dynamics. That's what it is.
Yes.
Because those so the cool thing is, or what I like about those josei, like when the trope reaches its full potential, you have these situations where the romance is entered in on unequal footing because the other person is more powerful in whatever setting. But by the end of the romance, she usually ends up getting as much power, if not more, in the relationship to him by the end. Right. And I think that watching that happen over time is really, really good. And I think of something like Happy Marriage, which is written by Makia and Joji. Like literally, if you're looking for romances, just Google Makia and Joji and buy all his shit. It's good. I'm currently reading An Incurable Case of Love, which is about to be in volume 4. Also really good. But in Happy Marriage, you have a situation where like the guy comes into the hostess bar where she's at. Is a total dick to her. He's super rich, and he ends up just being like, yeah, no, you can't work here anymore. Come marry me. And it's like a very immediate proposal, and she ends up doing it to get out of her father's debt and to take care of it and stuff. But as the relationship develops, you see them grow on equal footing, and you get to explore the emotional dynamics between them, because in Happy Marriage, and what I really like about it, and we're not really talking about anime anymore because sadly there isn't really josei anime out there.
A crime.
You end up with a relationship where you get to see her become stronger and you get to see him be more vulnerable. And it's just handled really, really well. Right. And I think that that's something that, like you said, people see the dynamic and they just write it off. And it's like, no, you can't do that. Like, actually read it. If it's not your thing, it's not your thing. And if you can't break away real world stuff from it, then okay. Yeah. But I would say at least give it a try.
Right. And I think that's something where, like, again, that's just like us, like, preparing people. Like, if you are not familiar with it, please don't be shocked when you see this. And I mean, like, that doesn't mean every josei does this. But I just enjoy the power dynamics in it. And like, I guess like this isn't a manga, but I guess it is going to be an anime. But Olympus Lore, or Lore Olympus on Webtoons, like it is like I like the dynamics. It's the reason why I love it so much, and it's because like you got quick synopsis. You got Hades, the king of the underworld, as everyone knows. It's a retelling of the
Persephone, right?
Persephone. And Persephone is like 19 years old, and she becomes an intern and works at this company. Everything's modernized, and the God's world, and the mortal world is like taking place in ancient Greece. But the point is, like, Persephone is an intern, and Hades is the boss and the king of the underworld, and they are dealing with those dynamics and boundaries. I really
need to read this.
Read it. It's so good. The season finale. I put money so I could read so I can get the fast pass. The season finale is in 2 weeks. Kate, you have time. There is over 100 chapters. You will not run out of it. It is so good. But it's also coming to Netflix, so I'm excited. But sorry, my point is, I like when, like, in josei, and I think it's better in josei. And if it was like we don't, again, we're not talking about problematic stuff, but like I wouldn't accept it in shojo, like where the student
it's very
and teacher,
different,
right? The student and teacher romance. I'm like, nope, that's a red flag. No, but like when it's two consenting adults, and I say consenting, people will be quick to say something like, "Oh, but he's her boss."
Power means they can't just
right. And I'm just like...
In the manga, they're consenting.
Yes, consenting.
Sometimes there's some exploitation that happens.
Right, and usually they have feelings for each other anyways. Or they grow to have feelings, and then they actually build a relationship. And that is good. Another good josei trash one is the one about the vampire whose assistant is human. I have to look it up.
Oh, Midnight Secretary?
Yes! Midnight Secretary.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that's a good one. But it's just like, again... Power dynamics, relationship gets built, and a good relationship actually comes out of it. It's so good.
And I think a lot of it too, like when you look at it, and because like another one of the tropes that happens is the somebody gets sick trope, which sounds funny, but I think when you read josei romances, there's this moment where usually the male character gets sick, usually from overworking. And the female character has to come in and take care of him. And so she'll cook for him, do whatever. They probably end up having sex after it. And she's like, "I'll catch your cold. It's fine." That is a line I have read in like 6 different josei at this point. But it's usually then when you see that dynamic kind of shift, not just from you as a reader understanding that she has power, but also in the story itself, because that's usually when the guy is acknowledging the that she can do more than just be there and stuff like that. And it's a really good moment, and it's where you get to see that dynamic shift, and it's something that I really appreciate when watching when reading josei. I mean, like, josei romances, I think, not only because they cover like some of the heavier subjects like divorce or cheating and like really not understanding abuse, or not understanding who you are as a person. There's also almost always a part where she gets abducted or has a stalker, like that's always a beat as well. I can take it or leave that one, but it's usually what brings them closer together, blah, 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 blah.
Trauma.
But, trauma. But they're, like, josei romances, regardless of the problematic things that a lot of these tropes are, like, put in, they also do a lot of work to make you really feel the love between the couples that they have. And I actually don't think I have much complaint, because, like, I don't think there's something that I hate in josei. Not hate, but something that makes me annoyed in josei the same way that I have with, like, shoujo romances.
Right. I would agree, because I just think, like, josei is intended for, like, you know, more mature audiences. And maybe part of that is just, like, as we get older, our tastes change. But it's, like, one of our favorite anime is Wotakoi. And it's just, like, being able to see yourself in those situations, like it's a workplace romance, or like they were friends and now they're in a relationship and now they're trying to navigate being in a relationship with one another, and like what does that really mean? But like the other part of it is like they're able to be their true selves with one another because they're both huge otakus, and there's like so many good things about it. But I think like if this was based in high school, I don't know if I would get the same thing out of it, because I like wouldn't. Right. I like that the main character, like you see some of like the insecurities that I'm sure women our age or men their age have faced in dating.
I think my one of the most like I've done that part was when he invites her to his house and she assumes it's to have sex and she's just like, oh my God, what color are my underwear? And she can't remember what color her underwear are. And that's something you can't do in the shoujo romances, which is fine because like shoujo is literally the demographic right below the age we are now, so that makes sense. But like this is just like, I don't know, Watakoi is one of my only issue with Watakoi is I wish it was closer to like Makia and Joji's work where like you don't, it's not smut, but like there are moments where like they do go and have sex. Right. Because they're adults and adults have sex.
Yes. Because they're just, they don't go there. And I just like wish they talk about it. You know what happens. But like, I don't know, a huge thing about Wotakoi is that there's two couples that the show is centered on. And like the secondary couple, it's very much known that they have sex. Like she'll sleep over his place or like they'll like, you know, acknowledge that it happens. And I'm like, yeah, because they're adults. Like, they're 27 and 28. Like, yeah, no, sex happens. But, like, the other two, it's like they're actually in this new territory of, like, they knew each other for years. And now they're in a relationship. But now it's, like, trying to move at a comfortable pace, intimately.
Yeah.
And it's like when they have their first kiss. And he kind of, like, surprises her. And it's, like, it's so cute in that moment. But I'm just, like, they kind of have this childish reaction to it. Like
it's like you're watching it. It's like you're watching a shoujo in a josei's body.
Yes.
When you look at their relationship compared to the other couples.
Yes, exactly. Because I'm just like, even the like dreaded theme park moment, and you're just like, I fucking hate you. You know what you're doing to us.
Yep.
But it's just like. No, like, this is the point of the manga. Like, they are exploring a new territory of their relationship, and they're trying to, like, find their own rhythm, and, like, they're progressing into it. But it's also just, like, I have the same problem that you have with them. Like, I want y'all to acknowledge that, like, sex is a thing. Like, be intimate with each other. But it's, like, that's the whole point of theirs is, like, in, like, the other couple, the woman in the relationship, the older one, she gives advice. Yes, Hana. She gives advice. And it's like, it's okay if you're taking your time to find, like, your rhythm.
Yeah.
And be, like, with one another. You don't feel pressured to be at a certain point. And, like, he even has this moment where he's like, I used to think doing adult things would make me more adult. And it's like, I wanted to do that so I would seem cooler. And, I mean, again, like, because, like, the character, like, she thinks about like what underwear she has on, and it sounds like she would be all for having sex with him. So that's not an issue. It's just like, but they're moving at their own pace in a relationship. But God damn it, I need a season 2 so bad.
Oh, I really need a season 2. I need more chapters as well.
Oh, God.
And I think like when we kind of, because it's also interesting too, because like we haven't even talked about like yaoi in this. Because that's a whole nother level, a whole nother section of romance. Mm-hmm. But I think it kind of deserves its own episode.
You know what? Yes. I think that I'm going to write that one down.
Yeah. We need to do a yaoi episode. We need a guest to do a yaoi episode.
Yes.
So we can maybe
a Yuri episode too.
You know, we could do a Yuri episode. I don't read Yuri
at all. I have not purposely read Yuri. Like, Yuri, I will say Yuri comes up when I, like, read a manga and then I realize, like, oh, this is a Yuri manga. And I don't mean, like, because, again, I'm just going to give a quick example to people who aren't familiar. Yuri is usually, like, a romance that's centered on two girls.
And yaoi or boy love is centered on two guys.
Right.
Which is also Wotakoi, because she's a yaoi fangirl.
Yes, exactly. And I guess, like...
the girl knows what happens in sex. Mm-hmm. She is obsessed with yaoi.
None of them are virgins. We all know this, but y'all won't let us live through them or something.
No.
But, with Yuri and yaoi, I will say, like, boy love, I feel like is more, like, right out there with some of the manga that I've found that, like, oh, this is a boy love manga. And then there's, like, Yuri, where, like, I have found Yuri's by accident, where I'm reading it, and I'm like, oh, they in love with each other. And it's, like, it's because, like, the title isn't, like, bam, two girls together, like, in a relationship with one another. Whereas, like, boy love will just, like, put it right there on the cover.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And I don't know, I mean, that's an interesting dynamic. We'll just have to, like, dissect both of those separately. But
yeah.
I would love if we could find a guest who, like, could...
Yeah, because
who's a, like, fan and, like, knows that stuff.
Yeah, and I also think, because I would also be really interested, too, to see, like, what those two markets are. Because I know yaoi is almost exclusively marketed to women.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know how... I would be interested to see that, like, if these romances are geared toward... Because, how do I explain it? Because, like, the yaoi smut is, like, it's just like any other smut. You just, like... It literally... It's plugging and playing a josei romance. You're just making it yaoi. That's all it is.
Right.
Which isn't a diss to it. It's why I really, really love it, and I read a lot of yaoi.
Mm-hmm.
But I would really be interested I'd be really interested to know the queer perspective on yaoi and yuri and how it's marketed, because they are same sex romances, and I don't know. Like, all the people I know who I've talked about with yaoi are heterosexual. Mm-hmm. And so it's one of those things where, like, I definitely would like to know what that perspective is from somebody who is queer, to kind of, like, understand what that culture is like coming from that angle, I guess, if that makes sense.
No, I think that makes sense.
It's just, it's a whole nother level of romances that I think deserves enough time to unpack and talk about in and of itself. But it is there. And I'm boy love trash. Like, I read too much of it. So when we go to bed, sometimes I'll bring my Switch and I'll play, and then sometimes I'll just read manga in bed while we're going to bed, and Matt's, like, right there, so sometimes it's funny. He just doesn't look at the manga I'm reading. But I was reading yaoi in bed one time, and he was just like, "What are you?" Oh, no. Turning. I was like, sorry. It's just getting hot and heavy. Sorry.
Yup. But no, I mean, like, and it's such a good... There's such interesting titles out there, and it's a good genre. Like, both of them are good genres, but I will say, like, I've come across, like, this seems like hypersexualization. Like, this seems more of
there are definitely, like, those,
Like, there are quality ones, I will say, but then I feel like I'm interested to know someone's perspective and, like, their thoughts on that, because I feel like Yuri especially, like... This isn't so much about the romance. This is just about y'all seeing two girls together. And, like, that's completely fine. Again, yaoi smut, yuri smut. But then I'm interested to know someone's perspective on, like, how they feel about that. Because, I mean, I like romances depending on, like, the characters and whatever. Like, sometimes I like to have a story with it. But then, like, and, like, have substance. So...
Well, like... Because, like, when I think back on, like, what my favorite yaoi is, like, currently my favorite yaoi is 10 Count, which is, it's about a guy who has, like, an obsessive-compulsive disorder and a therapist, and they end up getting together, and it's really good, but there's also, like, this deep story. Like, that one confronts more of, like, one of the main's, like, inability to come out of the closet, or, like, just fear of coming out of the closet because of stuff he dealt with as a kid. And that one has a lot of depth, and it's really good. But I would be really, really interested to see, like, that's obviously for me, like, I'm not a gay man, so I don't know what that perspective is, but I'd be really interested to see that. You know what? We have to find somebody and bring them on. We have to bring on people who love these genres and know more, and can come to speak at it from, like, a better place than I can.
Or me.
Because I'm just like, so I'm just kind of like, oh yeah, these two men are hot, and I love watching them do things. Which is why I read yaoi. But yeah, I mean, we've kind of got on for an hour, and I feel like we still missed so much.
We did.
But
we'll just have to do a part 2 at some point.
It's just such a large genre. Do you have any final thoughts, I guess, on romances in general?
In general, my final thoughts are just, like, you know, romance and anime and manga, there is a range. And, like, I think I continue to like finding that range, especially as I get older. And it's just like it's so interesting. Like, I think a lot of people would think romance and anime and manga is one thing, but it's more complex than that. And I think that's something that I enjoy about it. Like, yes, there are tropes that get on our nerves, and there's like problematic stuff, but like when you find the really good stuff, it's definitely worth like taking your time and enjoying it and looking for more of it.
Yeah.
What about you?
I agree.
Thanks.
I mean, like, there's just a lot to talk about in romances. I do think it's probably my favorite genre of anime or manga, which is really weird because I don't like reading romance, like, books or anything. But, like, I love a good romance. And as much as I love horror manga and shonen manga or, like, typical action manga, I also really enjoy when they have like a really well executed romance or even just a romance there. It's one of the reasons why I really liked Darling and the Franxx.
Yeah.
Even though a lot of people didn't.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. Definitely a lot. But I think overall, like, I want more people to understand, like you said, that the genre is more than just one thing. And I want people to give it an actual good chance, because I feel like a lot of people don't give it a chance, especially when, I'm not saying go read all the smut, because there's some bad smut out there, but like, a lot of the times josei smut is actually really good on story, y'all. And you should expand your horizons.
So,
but yeah,
I think that's a great way to end it. So, I guess, can you tell the people where they can find us and yourself?
Yep, you can find us at DYHT_pod on Twitter, and you can find me at OMMithrandir on Twitter as well.
And you can also find me on Twitter at LA_NEY_SHA. And without further ado, we all go read some josei smut now. What would you say is your most irritating romance trope in anime or manga? And, damn it, I had a good one.
You can't see Promise Neverland now because I watched it.
Damn it, I can't. Will I get Kate to watch One Piece? Find out next time on Did You Have To? Bye. Did You Have To is co-produced by Kate Sanchez and Lanisha Campbell. Our intro is done by Dr. Emery Stephen Daniel. And our outro and intro music is by Benjamin Tissot, a.k.a. Ben Sud.